3 reasons why software is the best business in the world: high growth, recurring revenue, gross margins upwards of 80 to 90%. In this video, I'll be explaining very simply what is a SaaS company, and I'll also be talking about my firsthand experience working for a tech unicorn, 2018, starting as an SDR, sales development representative, right out of college, working in software sales. Fast forward 3 years later, my company is now public. We got some equity stock options. I've 3x'd my income, and I'll also be talking about what it's like in the trenches working in software and what you can actually expect if you want to be in the technology industry. Make sure to subscribe now to the channel if you're interested in all things working in tech. SaaS stands for software as a service. Essentially, SaaS companies develop, host, and constantly are updating their products and best serving their customers. Typically, SaaS companies are either B2B, business to business. Think of a Salesforce. I'm a company, I'm Salesforce, selling to other companies, helping them to either mitigate risk, improve revenue, reduce cost. That's really why B2B companies buy SaaS products. Or you could be B2C, business to consumer. Think of a Slack. Think about everyone that's communicating via Slack, working remotely nowadays. And when we start to unpack the business model, why it's so lucrative, the first point we said is big growth. Software is everything. When we look at venture capital funding, the money that's going into the technology space right now is absolutely mind-blowing. I feel like on LinkedIn, every other day I see a company, oh, we just raised Series A seed funding. We're valued at XYZ billion. Oh, my company just went public. I'm sure you see posts like this all the time. Bottom line, technology is everything, and companies are starting to increase their spend with SaaS companies because it's so important to the way in which they work, the way in which they communicate, the way in which they serve their employees. And when we think about big growth, why is SaaS such a great business model? It's because there's unlimited leverage. As soon as you create a SaaS, software as a service company, it's stored in the cloud. Think about Google. That's essentially a B2C or B2B, depending on how you're looking at it. It's stored up here, Google, and it has unlimited reach to a global market. All you need to do is log on to your device, your smartphone, your computer, your tablet, and you immediately have access to Google. So think about if I develop a software, immediately I have access to a global market, assuming that they have internet connection. Number 2, unlimited leverage. When you write code and you develop a software, the cost of delivery does not grow as you start to reach a broader customer base. What do I mean by that? Think of company A, manufacturing company. In order for you to expand sales and reach more customers, hypothetically, you would need to either create or import more product. There's constraints on cost of goods. You need to develop your product in China, you need to import it, and then you need to ship it out. So the more product you're bringing in, the more it costs to create, the more it costs to distribute. Whereas company B, software company, once you put in all of the money to develop the software, it's stored right here, and you have unlimited reach to a global marketplace. And the cost of servicing your customers and taking the product to market when you're actually implementing isn't necessarily going up because you're not worried about shipping, you're not worried about these other factors. All you need to do is figure out how do you go to market and get them to want to buy your product. Of course, there's a lot of costs with hiring salespeople, marketing, and all of that, but ultimately, there's unlimited leverage in the business model, so you can reach so many more people so much easier. When we think about the point number 2 around recurring revenue, everyone wants cash flow. And when you think about how do you value a company, you want to look at the cash flow. How much cash is it actually bringing in? And when you think about the software SaaS business model, you're typically selling to your customers, whether it be a business or a consumer, some sort of recurring revenue. In my business, we call it ARR, annual recurring revenue. So many SaaS companies structure it differently. Bottom line, my company, I sell to another company, they sign a year contract, and they have access to their license for 1 year, and they retain all their data, and it's a recurring revenue flow. We recognize over a 94% rate of renewal. So the companies that buy tend to renew year over year. There's typically a price raise included in the contract. So for example, 5% uplift year over year. So assuming the customer does not increase their spend and they're spending $10,000 annually, they're going to increase that spend by 5% naturally, just based on the way we do business. And the other reason why it's so lucrative in SaaS is because these technology companies have created their own product, and they can very easily, by way of their engineering team, add new products, enhance existing products, acquire other companies to then sell those products. So when you acquire an existing customer and they're spending $10,000 with you, they're most likely, hopefully, going to renew the next year. But the opportunity to cross-sell and upsell is monumental. And when we think about what is a cross-sell, think of a company that sells product line A and product line B. The customer just purchased product line A, so somewhere throughout the contract, once they start recognizing value with product A, the sales rep goes in and says, well, hey, it's been working so great with product A, let's get you product B as well, and look at the value that will do for you as well. That's called a cross-sell. And then an upsell is when the customer buys product A, and throughout the year, let's say they want to buy more user seats, they want to buy more features associated with product A, and they end up spending more money with that. So cross-sells and upsells are incredibly lucrative. And the SaaS business model, the reason why the margins are so high is because once the product is created, the cost of storing it, of course, you need to pay for servers, you're housing all the data, you need to pay for the overhead with rent, the buildings, all the employees. But bottom line is you're not constantly shipping in a lot of products. The cost of goods is fixed essentially. So the margins are quite high because the product's already been created, and the ability to service with unlimited leverage is pretty straightforward, and it's much easier to grow with a business model like that opposed to something like hospitality where you have so many constraints. If you learned something new in today's video, make sure to drop a like on this video below. I've been working for a software company, Qualtrics, for the last 3 years. Started as a SDR, sales development rep. Now I'm an account executive, and I work on the go-to-market team. That means we have a product. I take that product to market by way of selling. I call onto other businesses and say, hey, here's how we're going to help you to either mitigate risk, improve revenue, or reduce cost. Those are the three value drivers in which most companies evaluate their buying decisions on. So I need to help make someone's life easier. I need to improve their business as a result of my product. And the reason why I love it personally for me is this is my work from home station. I've worked jobs in which I'm a laborer, in which I'm working long hours. I have to do a physically demanding task. And I would sit there and watch the clock and say, man, this sucks. Now working in software sales, I like it because it's an intellectual game, and I could sit here like this all day and I don't have to exert any physical energy. It's all mental, it's all problem solving, it's all being creative, it's all being tenacious, relentless, consistent. And by calling, and the more knowledge I learn, the more I can learn, the more value I can pitch my product to the ideal buyer personas and the people that want to buy my product. So it's incredibly lucrative as well. As I said, I've increased my income 3x over the last 3 years. And when we think about software companies being high growth, I started at a company in 2018 right out of college. Okay, I was employee number 1400. Think about this. 3 years later in 2021, today is August 8th, August 9th, 2021, whatever it may be, whenever this video is going live, I'm more tenured than 76% of the workforce. Think about that. And I've only been in the job at the company for less than 3 years. And that just speaks to the nature of working in technology, is that the landscape is fast growing and things change rapidly. You're constantly innovating your product. As we talked about, a SaaS company develops, builds, hosts, updates their product. So things are going to change rapidly. So you need to be adaptable. You need to be able to constantly learn. And I was listening to a podcast this weekend talking about some guy that's been on the board for Amazon for 14 years. And he talks about being a venture capital investor. And when he talks about what are the common traits people in technology need to succeed, it's you need to be a learning machine. You need to be able to identify what knowledge do I need, in order to be more valuable to the people around me and the marketplace as a whole. Bottom line, software is the best business in the world based on the 3 reasons we unpacked here today. High growth, recurring revenue, and gross margins upwards of 80 to 90%. If you'd like to connect with me and join networks, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm always posting on there different things geared towards salespeople like you and me in the trenches, front lines. Drop a comment down below if you have any follow-ups or thoughts or whatever. Make sure to drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel if you're interested in working in tech. See you in the next video. Bye.